So today we're going to go through the kit that you're going to be getting as a part of OEB 155R. The first part is this net. You'll assemble it yourself. It's pretty easy. You're just going to line up the wire frame of the net with these holes on the wooden handle. You'll notice that one side is longer than the other. Mm-hmm. Take the metal tube, push it all the way up, and then you have your aerial net.
And you're ready to swish and flick.
Yes. I won't do it in here because I don't want to knock down the camera.
And then the box.
So
BioQuip is...
They're just a science supply company. And so we're going to unbox this. So here are some of the things that you're going to have in your kit. These are labels. Some of them have already been filled out.
Yours will not be already filled out.
You're going to get a box of pins. We actually recommend that you store those pins inside here in this hard plastic case. That just keeps sharp objects away from, you know,
your floor.
You'll also be sent, I think, 4 more sizes.
So wait, what are the different sizes of pin for, Evan?
Thinner pins, like 0, 0, or 0, will be used for smaller insects.
You know, that's the opposite of your gauges.
Yeah, so like these pins are actually pretty large. And so you'd probably want to use these on like big ground beetles or something like that. Mm-hmm. You're going to get these flat-edged forceps, not tweezers now.
We call them forceps, everyone.
I think like these work better for large-bodied insects. You don't need that much precision with these. It's just manipulating your specimen while you're pinning it. Mm-hmm. You could also use them to pick up living insects, but that's kind of hard to do.
I use them for firefly larvae sometimes. Or like caterpillars, if you need like a gentle...
Oh, caterpillars would be great, yeah. Especially because some of those have like hidden spines, so...
Yeah, you want to be safe.
So these are glassine envelopes. So these can be used to store primarily like Lepidoptera, so like butterflies.
You want an insect that can fold into a thin shape to put in the envelope. So mostly butterflies, sometimes dragonflies. Yeah, it's got to go in there.
Here's your pinning block. If you saw our pinning video, we demonstrate how to use this.
Oh yes, it's clickbait. You won't believe how we use this block.
So this right here is the kill jar. So it's got this porous substance at the bottom. So this is called plaster of Paris. What this does is it absorbs liquids. And so when you want to kill insects for your collection, you're actually going to take ethanol or rubbing alcohol. And so you're going to put that into there. I have a little vial.
A sample.
You're not going to put too much. So just, this is rubbing alcohol. You're going to pour it in there and just let it get completely absorbed.
And so then it's sort of trapping the fumes in the jar? Exactly,
yeah. So what's going to happen once this gets absorbed all the way and you start putting insects in, I'd say within about 5 to 10 minutes, the specimen will be dead.
So the fumes, it sort of breathes in the fumes and then it slowly goes to sleep, is my understanding.
Yeah, and so something you need to be careful about when you're using these jars is that if you haven't put in the alcohol, the insects will actually sometimes eat each other inside the kill jar.
Yes, and that's in fact why we use a kill jar. If you just have, you know, a cup and you're going around collecting things, you know, you're going to get home, open up your cup, and you'll have like one dragonfly left. Or, you know, one big mean beetle and everything else is in shreds. Or even if they don't eat each other, they'll fly into each other or chew on each other and sort of fall into piles of limbs.
Yeah, and if your insects are damaged to that extent, we probably will not accept them.
Evan is absolutely ruthless when it comes to grading. He loves nothing more than failing undergraduates. He doesn't deny it. Once this is absorbed, we'd probably want to keep the cap on it,
yes.
Am I right?
The gas will become more concentrated on the inside, and so it'll be more effective.
Right.
And it means that you're not wasting all of your rubbing alcohol. Mm-hmm. Do keep in mind that at the top it says poison. Just treat it like any poison, and that like while this is pretty mild, you don't want to ingest this. Keep it away from your eyes. Don't really let it come in contact with your hands. It can still dry them out. Yeah, just be safe with it. A freezer is also a great way to kill insects, and we do recommend it, especially if space isn't really an issue. Freezing insects, it's totally painless for them. The only reason you might use a kill jar instead of a freezer is if you're going to put insects in a freezer, you have to get them to the freezer. So how do you get them to the freezer? In a container. Well, if they're all in the same container, we have the same problem, which is they're sort of tearing each other to shreds. So unless you have a lot of containers or a freezer that's really close, it can be useful to kill them on the spot, which is
why we have a kill jar. Question, have you ever had an insect crawl off the pin?
No, I've had friends who that's happened to. If you fail to kill your specimen, and then so for instance, if you're freezing it, and then you spread it out, and then it turns out that it was just sleeping, because that's what happens when you freeze them, then they wake up. And so make sure they're dead. Like, if you're going to pin a specimen, make sure it's dead before that happens, because it's a little traumatic, obviously for the specimen, but also for the pinner.
Also for you, yeah. Yeah, it's, you know, harder than you think to be sure that something's dead. So a good rule of thumb, maybe keep it in the freezer for a few days, you know, not like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And what about the kill jar? Was the kill jar always going to kill them 100% of the time?
No, kill jar is the same way. So I think the kill jar is a little more effective and it's much faster, so you don't need to spend quite as much time waiting. But as soon as it stops moving, it probably is still alive at that point. So give it a little more time after that. I'd say another like 5-10 minutes at least.
And the thing to really be cautious of is big beetles. Big sort of insects are going to take longer to die and be more likely to try to crawl off the pin, as we say. It has happened to me, and it was traumatic, which is why I asked. So don't let it happen to you. All right, what else we got?
Let's see. So we have more of the labels.
Oh, that's what your labels will look like.
This is a nice fresh batch. And these are also just the pre-made labels. You can easily print out your own labels using cardstock or just nice paper. And
or just cut them, yeah. The traditional way is, you know, cutting out a square and writing on it with a pen, which also
comes in the kit. This is just a little guide that's from BioEquip, and it just has some information on the different ways to pin them.
Some good hacks. Tells you where to find them. You know, we don't even need to...
Here's a swish and flick right here, actually.
It has the butterfly being squeezed to death.
So I don't tend to crush the thorax. I know some people do. One of the other methods we discussed. But yeah, so this also has some extra information if you're curious about any of the materials that are included in this kit.
Yeah, definitely give that a look.
This is a 3x hand lens, so it'll be helpful. No, you can magnify some of those characters that you're interested in. You'll also have a few of these little pop-off, like these pop cap containers. So.
And you know what I would recommend, Evan?
What's that?
If you're in this class, you take one of those and you have it in your backpack or your purse or your wallet or whatever all the time, because you never know. Let me tell you, when I was taking my entomology class, I got a mole cricket because I was at an event in a gymnasium and it just crawled into the building.
Oh wow, that's great. Yeah, without your pop vial, you wouldn't have had to stick it in your pocket or something. And I keep these in my backpack.
I have one in my backpack too, actually.
So one other thing that's included in your kit is a spreading board. It's made out of styrofoam.
Insects not included.
Insects are not included. These are avalon specimens. And so when you're actually done pinning your insects, this box, the BioEquip box, actually doubles as your insect collection box. And so it has this foam bottom, and you could just place your specimens directly into that box.
Wow. Well, that's beautiful, yeah. So at the end of everything, you'll have a beautiful collection box to display.
So this is one more component of the kits that we're sending. So this one's actually from, this isn't part of the official BioEquip kit. This is what we're sending you.
This is sent by John Harbord himself.
So we have a little first aid kit here.
Oh, that's great. You guys, okay, definitely bring that all the time whenever you go out.
You have some Band-Aids. Let's see what else is in here. So we have an antibiotic ointment, and then we also have some hydrocortisone. So if you get like a rash from going through
poison ivy,
or if you get stung by a bee or something like that, this can be useful for that.
Nick got stung by a wasp today.
Oh no!
It was iconic.
I have 201 observations, but
I've got 3. That's all right.
I just got stung.
Oh, does it hurt?
Yeah, I don't know what
well, this would have been useful for Nick to have.
Yeah, poor guy.
We also have another larger pop cap vial.
Oh.
So this is, you could put like larger specimens in here if you want to take a look. I don't know, like some really big things, like those giant water bugs or some really big crabids, or there's some aquatic insects that are just gigantic. That you can
Water scorpion.
Yeah, exactly. So if you just want to take a look at it, you don't necessarily want to kill it, these are really good for just observation. This right here is a cork. So this will be useful for when you're trying to photograph different parts of the insect. So let's say you wanted to photograph something on the side, you could put it
Sideways.
the pin anywhere you want. So yeah, you could put it sideways
And then photograph like this.
we included this little vial as like a sharps container. So if we go back to these pins, some of these pins are not going to be in the greatest shape. So this one's bent.
Oh.
And so it's not going to be very useful for your insect collection. So you're just going to put it right into the little sharps vial, put the lid back on, and then that way you could dispose of this at a later date
Safely.
safely.
Yeah, so a sharps container in a lab is for things like broken glass or needles or anything that you want to throw out, but you don't want people reaching into the garbage when it's full of needles.
We have a few more glass vials.
Oh, nice.
So these are for storing like soft-bodied specimens. So butterfly larvae or aquatic larvae, or even just like a large cricket that's just really soft-bodied and is going to dry oddly.
Mm-hmm.
You could put those into here and then add the same solution we used in the kill jar. You're going to fill this up all the way with the isopropyl alcohol and just drop the specimen right in.
Mm-hmm. So rubbing alcohol, and it makes like a pickled cricket.
Exactly. Here's another pair of forceps. This one's really sharp, so it actually has a little protector at the tip. And this is for precision. So when you're really trying to get in there and get some tiny body part and move it over.
Maybe arranging legs.
These don't work super great for picking up live specimens, just because they're so sharp. You can hurt the animal really easily.
Yeah. So more for arranging legs and maybe a cheeky genitalia dissection.
Yeah, these are really good dissection forceps, but we're not going
to
do any insect dissections.
Unless.
Here is a stronger hand lens.
Oh.
So this is 10 times.
Wow.
You can see that it's very conveniently sized. You can just fit right into your pocket.
Wow.
And so this will be really useful for those really small specimens that you need to look at some like tibial spur or some wing vein pattern.
The old tibial spur.
Well, it's not included in this kit. We'll also be sending you a really high-powered digital microscope later. And so that will be used for those really, really tiny specimens. But this is good to have in the field. You can use it at any time. In fact, you could use it with those plastic pop cap vials that I showed you earlier. So these are safety glasses. In case you feel uncomfortable handling any of these things while you're in the field. The kit also includes this cleaning pad. So once you get the kit, first thing you're going to do is just open this right up. Clean the eye protector. Yeah, and then you're ready to go.
Are you not going to put them on? They're glasses friendly, aren't they?
They are glasses friendly. But
oh, yes. So fashion.
the last thing in the kit is a ruler. And so this will be useful for when you're trying to, I think we're actually going to have you place this at the inside your kit when you're taking a photograph, so we know how big these specimens are.
Right, so let's do an example here. Like, what, 12 millimeters or so?
And that's unique to that species, isn't it?
Yes, well, so size is actually a really common thing used to tell fireflies apart, and a lot of insects too. It'll be like under 10 millimeters versus 15 to 20 millimeters, and usually that'll do a lot to get you to species level.
All right, yeah, I think that's the biology of insects student kit.